Hello and welcome to the Tech in the Hood podcast. I'm your host, Ahmed Flex Omar. Tech in the Hood is a storytelling podcast that explores the past, present, and future of Chicago's cultural identity through conversations about community and technology. Each week, I reconnect with the friends and mentors who have shared this journey and spotlight new voices and innovators building the future of the Tech in the Hood. Welcome back to season 2 of Tech in the Hood. Today I have with me my good friends Bashir Muhammad and Martina Matthews. You probably remember them from season 1. Bashir and Martina, how you both doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you too. I mean, I want to start off the podcast actually by getting some reflections of season 1. I'm going to start with you, Bashir. I think when you came to the studio, did you realize that we were recording with videos and all this high-tech equipment?
I didn't. I thought we were just going to lunch. We show up here and it's a high-tech studio and a lot of equipment, and it's impressive here. And it was good. It was a good discussion.
You did great, man. You took it like a champ and you just rolled with it. Is it because you got a master's from Northwestern in communications?
No. I would just say that it's a host. Made me feel comfortable. So
thank you.
For you.
Yeah.
Having a conversation.
I mean, your on-air beatboxing was stellar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a lot of feedback about the modem noises and everything.
I think we should re-edit that image, that clip, and add a picture of a modem.
You should,
just so
people know.
People know.
Nowadays, people are not
it's
gonna
brutal.
know what that is.
Or maybe even edit someone from that time suffering through that. through that, I've been watching a lot of old '90s videos and commercials, or even interviews. In that regards, and people had it rough when they first discovered what the internet is.
People don't know how good they have it now.
Yeah. I mean, we have supercomputers, and we call them smartphones, but we have supercomputers in the palm of our hand. It's a different time. A lot of technology. What about you, Martina? What was your first impression? You knew we were going to a studio.
I knew we were kind of recording. I knew there was going to be a picture or two. I didn't know the whole thing was going to be recorded. I was having like a panic attack in the Uber on the way here. It's fine. I was just nervous. I'm nervous right now. I don't know why. I'm Ben Bashir's here though. My new friend since season 1.
Hey, man.
Partner in crime.
There it is.
Partner in podcast.
Yeah.
We're up for whatever surprises you're going to throw our way. So.
It's not a Japanese game show. I have not prepared anything in advance. But no, I'm curious. Why were you nervous?
I think anytime you're doing something for the first time, there's always a little bit of nervousness.
Sure.
Right? You're going to take pictures. You're being recorded. What if you fumble on your answers? All of that.
Yeah.
But it's just storytelling. We're just humans. That's it.
Yeah. And the first clip that we put on social media, specifically Instagram of you, got 20,000 views in a day.
Whoa.
It's fine.
Whoa.
It's fine.
What were you nervous about? I mean, clearly.
I don't know. I'm having a hot flash right now. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, these podcasts, you just got to be yourself. You just got to be, authentic, and the audience will connect, and, somebody disconnects, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, I'm very, very grateful to you both and all our guests. I mean, we've definitely got great reviews, and that's why we're back, for season 2.
Hey, man, that's what's up.
Yeah. And then so obviously we have a new setup right now, a new look in the studio. So I want to thank the Chicago Podcasting Studio, producers Tom and Colton. I mean, takes a team to make all of us look good.
Yeah, they know what they're doing over here, for sure.
That's for sure. So let's talk some tech, and for example, Bashir is somebody who is maybe joining the podcast for the first time and haven't listened to the first season.
Yep.
You're in cybersecurity. I mean,
I am in cybersecurity. That's correct. So Net-Telligence Group is the name of my company. I have two partners, Tavarian Dinkins and Brian Franklin. We own this business, and we provide cybersecurity services for small to medium-sized businesses. We've only been doing cybersecurity over the last 2 years, but we've been in business for 22 years.
That's a long time. Same company.
Quite a bit.
Same partners.
Same partners, yeah.
You got to write a book, man.
It's like a marriage.
Must have great counselors.
Yeah, man. We work well together.
Yeah.
We've seen the ebbs and flows of technology and, the evolution of technology over these 22 years. It's been wild. It's been a wild ride, for sure.
Evolving.
And still evolving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We like to say that in this business, you can't let the grass grow under your feet too long before you become obsolete.
Yeah.
So you guys, it's a constant, learning and reading and testing and trial and error and all of that.
So how do you deal with that? I mean, especially when technology is constantly evolving. I mean, talking 22 years, this is before broadband.
Yeah, it's just, and then this is the beauty, I think, of having partners, is that you can test each other and you can challenge each other.
Sure.
It's, like I said, a lot of reading, a lot of, staying on top of in technology trends. One of the things that's helped us is we became part of a national group of companies like ours that are called MSPs. MSP stands for Managed Services Provider. And since we started, we joined this group, it connects us with a broad range of MSPs, different sizes from all over the nation, some internationally as well. And that's helped tremendously. Because it's impossible to know everything. It's impossible to stay on top of everything.
Sure.
But if you're part of a community and you stay connected, then you get to learn a lot more. So
absolutely. And then there is power in community, and
absolutely.
How do you interact with the group? Is it a LinkedIn group or?
So they have quarterly conferences.
Okay.
In different states around the country. And the last time we had a conference was in Nashville, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Which was cool. And I had never been there before. It's a great city. But that's usually how we come together and meet. And they have, an agenda. They have speakers that come and, they have recommendations and all kinds of resources and vendors and, all that kind of, it's just a huge conference. And so they have that quarterly, and then weekly they have, Zoom sessions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and that's how we stay on top of things. It's been tremendously helpful for us in growing our business and, staying on top of the current trends and making sure that we remain relevant.
No, that's key. I'm gonna get back to you in a second because I want to dive a little deeper into cybersecurity stuff. But Martina, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Only slightly nervous this time. It's okay.
you got Bashir now.
Bashir, to share a couch with. So it's like, it's fine.
Exactly.
Cool. We're good.
We're good.
Exactly. So if somebody who's never listened to your episode, which I do recommend that they do, there are so many gems in there. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your work.
Yep. So I'm one of the founding members of Chegg.com, and that really kicked off my love for startups specifically. Just, I love the highs and lows and the building that happens within the startup space. So while Chegg is probably the largest company on my roster, I have also been involved with SitterCity.com, which is a Chicago-based startup. Also a few Bay Area startups, GetNectar.com, and most recently, a combination of Chicago and Bay Area, GeoBit, acquired by Life360. These last few months, I've taken a bit of time off to just rest and recharge, but have stayed in touch with my community. So things that you guys have mentioned, staying involved with the community, your network, keeping your relationships, staying on top of emerging trends, joining conferences, webinars, in person, online, all of that. So it's been really great to just have time to dive into some of the online resources and courses that are out there, especially with AI. I mean, that's the hot topic, and that's definitely what I've been just exploring, staying on top of what's coming out there, how are products using it, what are the new apps.
Yeah. Do you have any experience in AI?
So some bot type of experience, which you and I know some details there. But I think what's really cool now is that some of the big CRMs that are out there are now pulling AI in to improve their bot experience. There's so many different types of AI where you can improve the customer experience because it can now predict what you might be interested in as a customer. We can go into some examples later, but it's really, I mean, it's making the opportunity to improve the customer experience across all industries, all retail spaces. Just, it's so personal. It feels like a very special experience, which is all we want as customers.
Yeah. So personalization.
Is important. I'm not in the design space, but I've definitely seen some of the imagery that's coming out, and it's amazing. It's mind blowing what's happening.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my company with FlexTech AI, we're really big on human-centered design strategies. You know, so people tend to focus on the technology first, but it's about, you know, the people. And technology's not gonna fix everything, but if you invest in your people, then you add the technology. It's
magic. Then it's magic.
Then it's magic, right? So you get that boost. You know.
Yeah,
so,
it is. It's a boost.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot to talk about that because it's obviously a hot topic, and especially for the fall, you know, with students, you know, going to school, like what courses they should be taking, you know, what are the jobs of the future. I mean, we recently hosted an event for Tech Week around the future of work, so we'll dive into that too in a little bit. But before I do that, I want to hear a little bit more about, you know, your reflections from season 1. Did you get a chance to listen to anyone else's podcast? You know, I'm getting
Pop quiz.
I'm getting.
Did you listen to everyone's wishes?
I'm getting my testimonials.
I listened to Martina's.
That's awesome.
And she's awesome. And I would just say that, you know, AI is the hot topic and you know, current trend. And for us in the cybersecurity space, it provides. I mean, you can leverage AI. But it's also a threat for us, you know, in terms of threat actors using AI to trick and to fool and to, you know, to find ways in order to socially engineer, you know, our clients or our, you know, the general public. So it's a concern. It's also exciting. It's, you know, I just recently watched that movie. It came out over the summer, Mission Impossible. It was all about AI. Yeah, it was. So I was like, wow, if this is, you know, coming to the movie theaters and the masses and everything, then, you know.
Notice they filmed in that.
Mainstream, then we know that, you know, what's actually in existence is probably light years ahead of, you know, what they're showing us in Hollywood. So, yeah. In terms of reflections on the podcast, man, I mean, you know, this is this is a great thing that you're doing. I mean, so congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Putting this together, and when we get to season 10, season 11, we'll be like,
we'll be co-hosting.
We'll be yeah. We'll have our own spinoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There you go.
Flex and everything, but no,
we don't have to wait till season 10, so we can work out a deal. You know me, I'm all about making things happen.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, what's interesting on my end is when we're sitting down with folks from Tech Week and Workbox. They hosted us for that event.
Right.
They were under the impression that the podcast has been going on for a while, and told them, no, we just started this year, and it's gotten a lot of great reviews. So that's always a good testimony when people go in there and go, oh wow, this is a great podcast. So, but I can't do too much planning and worry about what people are going to think or how people are, going to feel. So I got to put it out there. I mean, Sean, who's on episode 1, talked about AI in his episode, and his line was, AI is not going to replace us. AI needs us. It needs, our data. And it's true, right? But only recently, we did a talk at Soho House. I brought that up, and I told him if he had a chance to look at the comments on YouTube, because there were people commenting and saying, "Oh, this guy is delusional. He has no idea that AI is coming for him. What is he talking about?"
Really?
So there's quite a few people that think that way, though.
Yeah.
But AI is a program. It doesn't have the empathy. It doesn't understand feelings, and that's where the humans are needed. It's also not perfect.
No.
And depending on what tool you're using, the data, it's not
the data
up to
is
date.
fed. It's not up to date.
2021. So you're missing everything since then. So it's amazing, but again, it's a boost, but it needs the humans.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I think someone asked me if AI is going to replace people's jobs, and for me, AI is not going to necessarily replace people's jobs. I would say it's someone who has knowledge of AI is going to replace your job, because they're going to be that much more, efficient.
Yeah, I heard an interview recently where they were saying that I think it was on CNBC, where they were saying that actually lawyers are at risk of losing job or job opportunities with AI. I mean, because of the research aspect of finding information about a particular case, or a lot of I think lawyers' work is in just doing research. So if an AI program or has the ability to sparse through the entire internet in a matter of
so that's a good point. I gotta have a lawyer next time on the
but it is it's actually a hot topic in the legal space, because some people do feel that way, but there are already more than one lawyer. There are cases out there right now where they're questioning documents that were pulled together by using AI. So AI also doesn't know what's fact or fiction. So using some of these programs, the actual terminology is a hallucination. And you can request the program to use factual sources and to cite the sources that they're finding it. But then still, especially if it's anything related to the legal space, I would review those resources and make sure it was interpreted correctly or cited correctly. So, I mean, it's new, right? It's evolving, it's emerging. There's space to improve, but right now it definitely needs the human layer.
I mean, it's liability, right?
Absolutely.
Who are you gonna lay the blame on?
Who's
the AI software or the
right?
Because you, as a human being, as an attorney, if that was your role, you'd have to go into court and submit a brief or argue, before a judge. Tell the judge, hey, it was ChatGPT that got me into this.
Well, that's the thing. There's a question on ethics.
Yeah.
Now, what is the ethical usage? You have folks who can now use AI to write their entrance cover letters for a program or a university. Is that okay? Is it ethical?
Yeah. I mean, some schools are taking a stand, obviously, so to me, I see this as kind of like the introduction of the calculator to.
But you can ask the same question to ChatGPT and you're not ever going to get the same word for word answer.
No.
So it's almost, at least from my perspective, and someone can prove me wrong here, it almost seems impossible then to say, okay, this was plagiarized, but is this actually plagiarism? So it's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, if you're presenting something that's not your work, I would say it's plagiarism, but at the same time, it's a new technology that's being, introduced that's going to be used regardless. Right. So how do you control it? How do you manage it? I mean, I see it as a great assistant. It can help you with outlining. It's the boost. And for lawyers, I mean, we all hear the stories of lawyers working crazy hours. If you have your own AI tool, proprietary tool that you've built at your law firm, and you can pull up, certain case law, citation, something that might have taken you hours, or you might not have enough paralegals, on your team. That's going to save you so much time that you might finally be in time for dinner with your children. So that's how I see it, because it's interesting. The same argument was made. I think it was around the time when laptops were being introduced, and folks were like, "Oh, we're not gonna need as many, attorneys, because we have laptops." There's even more attorneys, because now attorneys can work from anywhere because they just take their laptop. With them. And
lucky us. Lucky us, all of us, we can now bring our work with us because of laptops. I mean, it's true.
But look at that. The laptop created so many more jobs.
Yeah, and freedom, too.
And freedom, right? So I always see technology as a net job creator.
It's a tool.
Yeah,
it's a tool. It's here. It's going to continue to evolve.
It's a tool.
You have to embrace the change.
You have to. Because it's not going away. I mean, it's like social media. I mean, a lot of folks were talking about, Facebook and Instagram and so on, but social media was around before that. Right. Yeah, we're not going to talk about. We're not.
All of us know.
We're not going to talk about MySpace and
Friendster.
Although at that time people knew how to use HTML because of MySpace.
That's true.
And then Facebook came in and were like, "How about I just make it?"
I mean, that was honestly what excited me most about having some HTML knowledge. I was like, cool, I get to really pimp out my MySpace page.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
You had to have those skills, But it's going to be an ongoing, topic, and
other jobs that are at risk are coders themselves, programmers themselves.
Right.
I mean, the AI can actually do the programming for you.
Yeah. So there's this, I think, no code movement, and it's the future of app development. It's not going to require that much code. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like if you present the work and say, because the way I see it is, it's whatever you're selling is a product. It's a business. There's a buyer and a seller, right? And the buyer and the seller are both human beings. So you're not selling to another AI. So when that person receives the product, they're going based off your reputation. They're paying for your reputation in the marketplace, not the AI. So if you say I guarantee this, then that means you have knowledge of code, because you can you made sure that you looked at the code, and something goes wrong, and let's say all of a sudden the AI is hallucinating or it's not working anymore. You got to go in there and manually fix something. But if you don't have the background knowledge of the foundational,
even that, there's new roles now tied to people who are actually pulling code using AI. Now there's QA. specifically for that code. So it's just, everything's evolving. I think every single industry needs to pay attention, but not be afraid of it. Just see, how can this boost your productivity, and what can you layer in to actually deliver the best output, whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever your role is, whatever space you're in, like there's change happening right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens when they bring out, like, for example, ChatGPT 6. You know, that is, I mean, right now, you know, it can do certain tasks, you know, but it's still new. It's still limited. But I mean, something cool from a developer standpoint is taking code that was in Java or another language and telling the AI, hey, why don't you clean up this code and turn it into Python,
which is super cool.
Yeah, it saves me so much time.
That's incredible.
It saves me so much time, but I also have to know a bit of Python to see if it did it correctly.
Is this correct?
Because if I present that to someone, then
you're saying, I'm vouching for this. I feel seal of approval.
Exactly. And human relationships and human connections are important in any business. You know, that you're in, and that's something, you know, that always mentioned to young, you know, people, because struggle with that
nowadays, for sure. I
mean,
we didn't grow up with a screen in our face 24/7.
Yeah, we were.
I definitely binge watched The Brady Bunch and I Dream of Jeannie. I did. But yeah, we didn't have our phones in our hand or tablets.
It was on analog television, though.
Why are you judging? It's fine.
We had the rabbit ear television.
Yeah, for I remember days before remote controls.
It's okay.
Like my dad would be like, "Go change the channel."
Get your steps in. It's fine. No, but it was good, right? So just things have evolved. It's kind of funny to think back to some of these.
For cell phones, there was that phone on the wall. If you had if you had the long cord.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah.
We don't even have a home phone anymore.
No.
They're actually expensive if you price it out. I'm serious.
That's wild.
They're vintage. Like you get a Rolls Royce Panasonic.
Yeah. No, but I mean, speaking of relationships, I'm going to just reverse a little bit on season 1.
Okay.
So I did watch all of the guests. I think it was such a great group of guests that joined. Just people were from different industries, and I grew my own network. Like now I know Bashir and I've seen him and we've been out more than once. Some of the other guests, Sarah. I mean, it was a great group of people, and every single one of them, even if I'm not in the same industry as any of them, I was still able to connect or relate to something in their stories. And I think every single person mentioned like always staying on top of what resources are out there so that you can continue to learn. And almost every person mentioned a time where they had to adapt or they were pivoting. I think Stephanie, I mean, she did like kind of a career pivot and ended into like tech sales, but had humanities background, I believe. And Dominic, you know, in the medical space, but then COVID happened and now he's still learning how do I best treat my patients. And then he wrote a book. He's also big on making sure the communities know what resources are out there, which I know is big with you. Like, how do we talk to the communities and, number one, get the resources to them? And then how do we make sure they know about them? Like, everybody was talking about helping the community and just putting resources out there and having everybody embrace change in a way instead of fearing it. And that's, everybody had their own story.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm part of us coming together on this podcast today is just to see how we can share information that we have and share our knowledge and connect with the public in general. And I mean, we're not doing a sales pitch. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just having a conversation.
No, but I had the opportunity to even meet your daughter when we spoke at the Tech Chicago event, and she used Chegg, and so it's just all these pieces that connect. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, for our Future of Work event during Tech Week, you brought your daughter.
My daughter there. Yeah. And we had a conversation. I didn't even know she was using Chegg. But she said not only her, but all of her friends, and at her high school, and so that was a learning experience for me. I know Martina, but I didn't know much about Chegg. So, thank you for that.
I'm learning more.
Thank you for Chegg.
I mean,
was that her first kind of professional conference type of experience, or
you know what, she's been involved in student government.
Got it.
Since she's been in school, and so she's been to other conferences, and she's met. They do a good job of introducing them to professionals and having them job shadow and things like that. But that was the first time I had ever taken her with me to a conference that I work in. So trying to expose her to the work that I do, and try to encourage her, nudge her a little bit into technology. She wants to study environmental science. So
wow.
I'm not going to stand in the way of that, of course.
I mean, climate change is is a big deal, and
absolutely.
Loyola is up there. I think in terms of
I knew you were going to throw in your Loyola.
Of course.
We knew that was coming.
Of course.
He went to Loyola. She's going to go to Loyola. I have 2 daughters at Loyola now.
2.
Yep.
So
plug Loyola.
Yeah.
Loyola. Plug's happening right now.
Yeah, we got to get you the Loyola dad gear.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
For sure.
Or the Loyola dad discount.
Or Loyola dad discount. Plug you into some scholarships.
Community, if you know of any scholarships, please drop a comment. Thanks.
Let Bashir know.
Yeah. Sure. Well, your daughter's, she's coming along too. I mean, she's not in high school yet.
She's 6, so we're focusing on sandcastles right now. Reading.
When you blink,
math,
2 times, she'll be in high school.
No, it's true. And as a parent of someone that age, I mean, there's even figuring out, okay, how much technology do I want to expose her to? Because she does have friends in her class that are already on their iPhones and iPads all the time, and they are doing coding and designing, and I've held her back from exposing her to that, but it is something I need to think about. Like, when do I want to show her that? Because I don't want her to fall behind. But at the same time, I'm really happy with her.
Yeah.
Searching for cicadas in the dirt right now, which is her favorite thing to do. Yeah. We have a baby cicada in our house that she thinks is going to hatch. I don't know if that's the actual word for it. She found it in the yard. We're going to
find out.
And it's now resting in our lily in the living room. She made a blanket for it. So that's where we're at while her friend is doing some designing. But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's all right. Let the kids be kids.
That's it.
Yeah, doing that, and also she has a favorite TV show on Netflix.
She does. Yep. Do you want me to let you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's
okay. Spoiler alert. We just talked about this, and he was just a big fan of what the show is. Is It Cake? Season 2. And it's bakers who are baking cakes that look like
anything,
whatever.
Yeah.
Bags, bowling balls. And it's a competition to see if the judges can see which one is the real object or the cake.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
She's a big fan. I mean, she is... She doesn't watch a lot of TV, but this has really captured her heart and engagement. And she is jumping up and down on the couch, like cheering on her favorite bakers and guessing which one is real. So it's fine.
All right. Great. Might have to reach out to the producers.
So check it out.
Send us a special message. Since we're on the topic of films and TV shows, what about you, Bashir?
Like, what am I watching right now?
What are you watching right now?
Man, maybe I shouldn't say, but...
No, just say it. It's fine. Just say it.
I'm actually rewatching some old episodes of Boondocks.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Really? Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. Oh,
Man, it's
brilliant.
deep.
Oh yeah.
It's deep.
Now's the time to watch it because there was just so much that was happening.
Yeah, but not too much.
It was the Black Simpsons.
The Black Simpsons. Yeah, man, it was deep. The subject matter is pretty intense. But I've been watching that a little bit. I've been reading a book called The Pumpkin Plan.
The Pumpkin Plan. Have you guys ever heard of that? It's pretty interesting. The author's name is Michael Michalowicz. I think that's his name. But the Pumpkin Plan is about identifying. This will resonate with you, Martina, because it's about finding the right fit for your customer and providing all of your energy or dedicating all of your energy, focusing your energy into those best customers and removing the customers that
it's just not
not a good fit or that are a distraction from focusing your energy on those best customers that provide you with the best resources or the best relationship, etc. So
I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, the Pumpkin Plan. It's really good. So I'm trying to think about other things that I've seen, or I mentioned that Mission Impossible movie. It's really good.
Yeah,
it was all about AI.
That was a cool film. They filmed in Abu Dhabi's airport.
Yeah, you watched it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I haven't seen Barbie yet.
Oh no.
No.
You didn't
opening night.
You did.
Absolutely.
I have 3 daughters, and they saw it. And they just raved about it.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't
seen
it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's good?
Hey, you gotta give a big bonus to the marketing team at Barbie, and they did a great job. So I think their opening weekend was 155 million or something like that.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah, so it's really cool. But a film that I recently watched is the Blackberry film.
I gotta see that.
I need to watch that with you because it reminded me a lot.
He said we're actually having a movie night, just so you know.
All right,
we're watching this.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Tech in the Hood movie night, Tech in the Hood book club. Yeah, it's just
I got to check that out because I had a BlackBerry. I loved it.
I loved it too. I mean, and it was so fascinating because there's a point, in the film. It's a spoiler. But not a big.
Maybe you shouldn't say it.
It's not that big of a spoiler.
I don't know. I feel this is making me nervous.
It's small.
I don't know. Are you sure?
It's small. You would have to know a lot more context.
Fast forward if you don't want any spoiler. Okay.
Are you familiar with the game Command and Conquer? Okay, so
are you? You are.
Yes.
You are. It's fine. Okay.
It's a war. It's a war game. You can do single player or multi player. It's basically Cold War storytelling, allies versus the Soviets. And I introduced that game in one of the computer labs that I helped build when I was working with Bashir in those early 2000s.
Yep.
And it was such a big hit that it got a lot of young people engaged in, coming to the lab, and, we just couldn't get them to leave. They loved the gaming. And then I hooked one of his business partners, Tavarian. And and Bashir would just look at the two of us and like, is this what is happening right now? And I do remember a time where Bashir was just trying to tell us, hey, we gotta go, we gotta leave, and he was our ride.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna leave you guys.
Yeah, and he actually left. And so while he was on the highway, we called him and we said, hey man, just ended the game, we apologize, can you come and get us? I mean, it's as if he was not in the room with us.
Yeah.
He did not. I mean, there were times where it would take us, 2 to 3 hours to even just build our base before we even started attacking.
Start the war. Yeah.
Start the war or anything like that. So it was really in depth, and Bashir was just like, "What is, happening over here?" And so in the movie, in the Blackbird movie, they're playing the game, and so I'm like, man, that was so funny. And if you go online and look up LAN game nights, local area networks, you'll find pictures of like all these kids with all these computers with the giant monitors and these different rooms. Matter of fact, Loyola, when I was going there, the students would come with me to the west side of Chicago because our computers were much better than the ones in the school lab.
That's cool.
And so we would have gaming nights. We're there on the weekend.
I would. What, that we had better computers than Loyola?
That he was bringing the crew over.
Oh yeah,
He had the keys that opened the door.
Great.
Yeah, that's something because we built out that lab, and it was an apartment complex that had a computer lab. And, do you guys remember Shore Bank? Do you remember Shore Bank? Shore Bank is a bank. They had a branch on the south side of Chicago and then the west side of Chicago. But they had it's a neighborhood bank. They were bought out by U.S. Bank probably about 10 years ago. Anyway, they had what's called the Shore Bank Neighborhood Institute. And that they invested in different properties for housing, et cetera. And so we were putting computer labs there, and that's where we had the computers, and they were playing this game. And I would just be like, man, what is this game? You know what I mean? Because they were just enamored, just like in the screen. I mean, literally, you could play this game for hours. It was like chess almost, you know what I mean? In terms of the strategy. And so they hooked me probably a couple years later.
Do you guys still play this game? Am I out of the club here? Is this
not recently, but I think we might have to have we might have to do a tribute night.
We might have to, go back and boot it up. I don't know.
But it was like the hot game back then.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right. So here's this new thing, and then there's all this human emotion tied to like the entire experience around it, and the mixing and vibe, like different communities now coming together, and like all of this, like that's really what it boosted all of that, right? So now here we are, just new technology, new boost, but same opportunity to make these special experiences and close these gaps across communities.
I mean, imagine playing it in VR now.
Oh man, that'd be crazy.
You're
lose my mind.
Yeah.
Literally.
Bye guys. I guess I'll see you. Where have they been for the last 47 hours?
Yeah, seriously.
Have you played any games in VR? Have you messed around with the Oculus? Not at all?
No.
All right. We gotta.
I've watched a concert.
Oh, in the Oculus. So do you own one?
My daughter has one.
Okay.
And she let me use it. I put it on, and it was the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Okay.
It was intense, man, because you look around and you see other people, like you're there, literally.
Yeah.
Or virtually.
It's an experience. I also recommend watching basketball.
These are all our in-person event planning. That's what's happening right now. So
look, I mean,
let us know which one you're most interested in, and that's how we'll
all this came out towards the end of COVID, but when COVID first started, if I had my Oculus, I would have had different experiences. With folks, but that's one. But then next year, the Vision Pro from Apple is coming out.
Yeah,
that's a game. That's a game changer now.
What's the difference?
No controls. It's just use your hands.
Really?
Oh yeah. So no, it's basically the end of keyboards and and mouse.
Oof.
It's interesting.
Very.
But yeah, I mean, but the price tag is crazy.
I mean,
it's like
really
$3,000, but I've seen people pay for Yeezys like $2,000. I mean, people are gonna spend it because Apple is a brand, you know.
But it will be out of reach for so many people.
Not for there's. I mean, how much are phones right now? Some of these phones are $1,200, $1,300.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Like in communities, people are not going to be able to afford.
Right. I mean, right. Which also is okay. Do we have this technology available in libraries or centers? Right. Like, what makes sense to make sure people have exposure to? Because I mean, that's very cool, right? And it's like the newest trend and everything. But there's also folks that still need to learn the basics and have access to even laptops because they can't afford one. Like there's all of that that's still very real. I mean, I hear it, you know, we're still having tech layoffs, which are affecting so many people's roles, and not everybody has a laptop to continue to do their job search, so they're going to the library.
Yeah, I would say the onus is on us to really push those
so knowing about this new technology and then making sure people have access to it, I think that's like definitely right up, especially your alley. I mean, yours too, but with everything you have happening on the West Side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, making sure that these devices and these resources are available in these labs, or
especially with the Aspire Center.
Right. What's that? Authorities Aspire Center. We talked about that the last time on the podcast to see if we have the cutting edge, state of the art technology that's available in that center for people to access and to
because it's going to affect the future of work. I mean, Apple was patient and they wanted to bring something to market that's going to change the VR AR industry. I mean, it's a mixed reality device, and the Oculus is just straight VR, you know. But with Apple's technology, you can do both VR and AR. But with AR, we could be doing this podcast and interview, and I could be sitting at home and or have our podcast set up, and also in VR. But with AR, it will show my physical location. So I'm seeing a lot of that implementation right now in certain firms. So for example, if you have a designer in Europe and a designer in the US, they're working on the same project for a new car. They can collaborate in real time as if they were there in the same room. Just really, really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Another application I've seen is companies that, for example, are in oil or mining or drilling, and to have, like, for example, a certain expert from another country show the ropes, to someone else that's in a completely different, location using, those devices it's really incredible from kind of like an educational, tool, So the opportunities, is obviously plentiful, but I do agree with you, Martina. Not everyone's gonna have access, to those devices, and that's gonna rule people out, from certain jobs of the future. Because I was in Dubai, and I've seen the investment from the government. So Dubai, Future Foundation is supported by the government, and they're right now creating so many educational tools to educate the public and the community about how to best use AI, how to best use VR, how to best use, AR, how to integrate it, and even creating those platforms for government.
So the government is pushing that.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
oh yeah, because they want to be on the cutting edge, all the time. And so I think one of the the new ministries that's in the metaverse is called the Ministry of Possibilities. So imagine, if you wanted to get a new ID, you don't have to go to the DMV.
Oh, yeah.
You can just
Amazing.
go,
That sounds like a dream.
How soon can we get that?
New license in a month, so.
How about
Yeah.
passport?
Yeah,
Expedite that
you
process.
know what I'm saying, and have that conversation, and done, and then it's just mailed to you. And so in countries like South Korea, Japan, they've been embracing this technology, for a while now. So we're a little behind.
Yeah.
So definitely have some catching up, to do. But it's interesting. Earlier we were talking about gaming and Command and Conquer and so on. A lot of this push, in terms of technology, comes, from gaming. I mean, you've heard of NVIDIA.
Oh yeah.
And their stock, right?
Oh yeah. Stock went through the roof.
went through the roof. So NVIDIA, became what it is today because of gamers. And these but that's their chips are the ones that are powering these AI tools.
AI tools and autonomous vehicles and all
Yeah,
of
I mean,
that.
if you drive, you drive a Tesla, right? It's as if you're driving an iPhone, or you drive.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, man, the trucking industry, where they're talking about where they're working on having autonomous semis
Yeah.
that can transport goods around the country.
Which is wild.
Yes. Yeah.
It seems kind of scary because it's so new, but
It's coming because from logistics and supply chain, right? Years ago, when I got a tour of Rush Medical here in Chicago, the hospital, and I went down to the basement, and in the basement they had these robots that were delivering the supplies from building to building.
Are you serious?
And I stood in front of one of the robots' pathway to see if it's going to run me over, and it stopped.
What? No. Physically, what did it look like?
It looked like this sort of like giant,
This is so weird, right?
tower. Yeah, no. But when you first see that and experience that, because they're just moving so efficiently, as if like, hey, they just clocked into work and they're just doing their thing, and I just looked at them and I was like, what is,
But aren't they already doing this too with even like surgeries? I don't know if it's in the testing phase or if this is already in motion,
like
but
using robotics. Yeah, I've heard about that, and for ortho. So you basically, it's like gaming, right? You're using a joystick, in order to control, the robot.
There's still a doctor though.
There's still the doctor.
Right,
No,
but
absolutely.
I thought I heard.
Robot.
Right, that's why I think this was in like a testing phase. But but I mean, but why not? Right, it kind of makes sense if you can tell the robot this is what you need to do, this is what you need to look for.
Right.
I mean,
I'm
if
not
you can
there
just
yet.
drive this, I mean, but you're also like, I'm thinking like this truck's gonna be on the road with me.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Like, is it gonna stop for me? Like, it's fine. It's all just very new.
I think that's why it's been taking a long time to implement this, because liability is a big thing. So how do you insure these trucks, right? Who's liable if something happens? There's no if you don't have a human being, behind the wheel.
Yeah.
But it is coming, because I don't know too many kids these days that are excited about being truck drivers.
Yeah.
And we're gonna need, truck drive, trucks,
Yeah, it's different. I think, the young people, like when I was 16, which was so long ago, I couldn't wait to get my license. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to drive, and that represented independence and freedom.
Because it was part of your identity.
Yeah, it was like, I got to get my license. I want to drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But kids these days, I mean, it's not that much of an impetus for them. I mean, they would rather be in a ride sharing, situation where they could, be on their smartphone.
It's a sharing economy.
Yeah,
I mean, I prefer being in a ride share over driving myself because I don't want the stress of traffic.
That's true.
I'd rather someone else have to pay attention to that. And I'm absolutely guilty of being on my phone or snapping a selfie. It's fine. Like, it's true. Touching up my makeup. Like, it's all those things.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot now, Bashir. Remember we were working on the west side?
We were on the west side.
You had a stick shift.
I had a stick shift.
Yeah,
okay.
we're driving in the snow in the highway.
What kind of car was it? Was it a Volkswagen?
Nah, I don't think it was the Volkswagen. We're taking it back. I think it was a Honda.
Oh, a Honda stick shift. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah.
And because we were going like 5 miles an hour, I mean, that was a struggle because constantly you had to.
Yes, that's true. I would have rather been in a ride share at that time. Yeah, no, for sure. And I've heard about, Tesla is developing this charging stations that are, that are not remote, but wireless charging stations for the vehicle. So you drive through and it charges the battery. Oh. So, I mean, that's
wild.
I mean, we get to that level, man. That's high tech.
Yeah. I mean, Tesla's definitely done a great job with pushing technology forward. And, when we're looking at future of work, you look at the company and the way even the factory floor, has changed. There's even more, robots that are in there. But does that mean that there's no human beings that work for Tesla?
No, they definitely are.
There's plenty, and they have more software engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've got over 100,000 employees.
Mm-hmm.
And, for sure.
We were talking about earlier also about the robots, right? The Amazon warehouses.
Oh yeah, they've been used for inventory.
I don't know the number, but I think it's over 750,000, robots that they're using in their factories. But those are the equipment that are moving things around more efficiently.
Right.
But again, there's so many people still on the floor.
Oh,
they're making sure that the robot did its job. But instead of me walking from one end of the warehouse to the other end, the robot is going in there
taking it
and bringing it to me. I mean, the amount of time that's saved because of AI. But again, like any tool, and I understand your concerns, obviously being on the highway with those futuristic trucks, there's gonna have to be a high degree of testing and making sure that those things are safe, but you can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, they've had certain cities in the United States now that
Say it again?
In certain cities in the United States, I don't know exactly which ones, but they have those autonomous vehicles.
Right.
Well, I forget. Yeah, definitely California.
I was going to say, for sure.
Yeah. I was watching not long ago on 60 Minutes. They had a segment on robotics and AI, and they had these robots that were teaching themselves how to play soccer. Did you see this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was insane because
this is really cool.
Yeah, when it first started out, these small robots, they looked like, about 2 feet tall, and they put a ball out there, and I think they coded it so the objective was to kick the ball into the net.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they were like toddlers at first,
they were learning while playing.
Yeah, they didn't know how, but
they needed all the input.
Yeah, but they started to learn.
Yeah, right.
And then they started to block and tackle, and then you started to watch them evolve. And they were, not professionals, but able to kick the ball into the net. And I'm like, wow, this is this is incredible to see AI and the robotics right here in front of you. So where are we going? in the future. So
yeah,
I think that's, it's exciting, but it's also
I mean, if I'm a college student right now and it's fall semester, I would be very nervous. What did I take the right classes? Am I,
But all you can do is work towards your degree.
Yeah.
For any college students listening, because things will always change. Like what I learned in college is so out of date. I mean, I can't remember my textbooks.
You're a computer science major,
yeah? Computer science coupled with an MBA, marketing. I mean, so much has changed.
Foundation.
It's the foundation. It's okay that I feel like problem solving and analytical thinking were what I learned the most.
You learn how to learn.
I learned how to learn, and that's the skill that everybody needs.
For sure.
Yeah.
I studied government, political science in college, and now working in IT. So go figure.
Yeah. So I mean, pivoting is
you gotta be able to
part of life. So don't stress out. Things are going to change.
Right.
Constantly. My advice always is, be a value creator.
There you go.
As long as you're useful, you're creating value.
Yeah.
Then you'll always find a job. You'll always find employment, and that's how I kind of navigated my career.
That's it.
Well, and keeping it interesting, right? Because if you're doing what you're actually interested in, then reading the article or the books, you want to do that. So you're going to continue to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it's going to be an ongoing, conversation, so I'm not an academic advisor, so the folks at the universities will have to, figure it out. But it is an exciting, time as well, because you can introduce new courses and, get creative. But it's also important for our students here in the United States specifically to keep up with the rest of the world, because the internet came, other economies, caught up, very quickly. I mean, you look at China, you look at India, and now with AI, Africa is going to catch up very, very, very quickly. And so know that you're competing not just with your classmate or your fellow Americans anymore. You're competing with the entire world.
Where would you? Like, what resources would you recommend? Like, what's your go-to when you're just reading anything related to the new trends?
Yeah, I me't obviously podcasts I think is great. I always look for one of my favorite podcasts is Decoder. It's with a magazine group called The Verge. And so they have a different, C-suite person, come in and talk about, new trends, but then talk about, their journey. So recently they had the founder of Squarespace.
Oh, nice. And
that was a really interesting conversation, and talking about are people going to even need websites moving forward? How is search changing because of AI? Or how are you monetizing? You're introducing a payments platform, all that. So I tend to check out the new trends, but I also like to read books that are autobiographies, and it teaches me a lot, more, because it teaches me about the adversities that those human beings experience. Because when you're reading in the news or reading certain articles, you're getting the PR version. It's clean. I want the dirty. I want the ghetto. How hard was it? Like, what are the obstacles?
Blood, sweat, and tears.
All of it.
Yeah, because it happens.
Yes,
that's how you grow.
Absolutely. And so that's where I get a lot of insight. And then I look at I look at the podcast to learn about new trends, because honestly, if you look at history, things tend to repeat themselves. Things go out of fashion and then come back into fashion. I mean, we're talking about VR in the 90s, and now we're talking about VR. Again, last year we're talking about Web3 and Bitcoin, and now we're talking about AI. I believe that Web3 is going to make a comeback next year and the year after, because the technology that it's built on is solid. The blockchain technology, and
should I start buying NFTs?
Depends on what kind of NFT. I mean, the way I see these NFTs is you're investing in stock, you're investing in property, or so on. So it just depends on who's behind it, and what is the reputation of that individual. Any recommendations?
He's like, tell me where.
I got after. Yeah. Because I am not a financial advisor.
I love all these disclaimers here.
I have to lay out a disclaimer.
I'm not a financial advisor.
As a former auditor,
right.
I know there's so many ways you can get into trouble, and I don't want the show to get banned, and I also don't want people to get any advice that they can use, because I've seen it where people would take advice and put their savings into
right.
Yeah,
not
coins.
Maybe the best.
And speak to your financial advisor.
There you go.
Talk to them first. I mean, I think it was a couple of years ago, I was in an Uber ride, and this gentleman was telling me that his friend's a financial advisor, and he's been dealing with a lot of parents of young people in college that are stressed out because the kids would take out student loans just to invest in crypto.
Oh, yeah.
I know quite a few
Digging
people
early
who
grave.
put in a lot of money into the more riskier coins. I mean, it's already a risk, fine. Yeah. And then you're like, I'm going to gamble. I'm going to get these just in case.
With
and
something that does not have an intrinsic, value. I mean, you remember there was a time when people would come to you and say, "Hey, did you buy land?" In the metaverse, what plot did you purchase? And I was like, nothing. It's a software. if somebody turns it off, it loses its value.
Right.
So I knew what it was, but it's highly speculative. And definitely. If that's your market, if you if that's how you trade, it's
high risk appetite.
Yeah, I'm more of a long term.
Yeah. I got
type of investor. I'm blessed. I have land.
Actual land.
Actual land that you can step on. In Africa, you guys are welcome to come with me and dig.
Man, I'm there.
You never know what we go and find. It's blessed. Continent. But hey, that could be another opportunity for Tech in the Hood to have a Tech in the Hood Africa.
Yes, we'll have to film it there.
We absolutely
bring Tom and the guys.
Yeah. I don't know if Tom's ever been to Africa, but I'm not gonna put him on the spot. We'll we'll have him address that at another time. No. He should come. But especially now, for season 2 for me. Season 1 was really great to kind of introduce myself, my close friends and, people that I collaborate with. I mean, both of you have known me for a long time.
You finally let us meet. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I've learned the hard way that you have to be very careful when you're connecting different circles of friends. It has to be natural. It has to be authentic, and came about through the podcast, and now you both have a friendship. You're part of the Tech in the Hood community. So
awesome.
It worked. Could it have been sooner? Yes, but Martina, you were busy with how many startups?
Right. It's our time now, though.
Yeah.
It's our time.
Yeah. And
it's our summer. It's our time.
It's definitely our time. And I mean, there's something that I mentioned during the panel for the future of work. And people are talking about artificial intelligence and AI and all of this. And, Bashir, in 2000, it's like Net-Telligence.
Yeah,
we're doing it, but no one was walking around going, "Oh, you're in tech? That's sexy." But now if somebody's, "Oh, I'm in tech," ooh, technology, I like it. But back then it was like as if we were maintenance people. We showed up with our cargo, pants and had to crawl on the floor.
Absolutely,
and go into that hot server room.
Yeah, get to work.
Get to work, but now these server rooms are in just giant data centers and farm centers. They did not go away. They did not, disappear. But I'm very fortunate and very lucky to have had that experience, with Bashir, because it truly gave me an opportunity to understand both the hardware and how software and all of that works and but now IT is a little different, especially with cloud-based.
It's in the cloud.
It's all in the it's all in the cloud.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because I remember watching the show called The Jetsons when I was a kid. I don't know if you remember that, Martina? Of course, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Right. And so with The Jetsons, pretty much everything that was in that cartoon came to life eventually, except for the flying cars.
I think they're coming soon, though.
Flying cars?
I heard there was some mini flying helicopters kind of cars coming to West Loop. This is
really?
I'm serious. From the airport to West Loop, like a little commuter.
Oh, like a car that can become a helicopter and then
something magical.
Like that. Okay, I got you. Well, I guess just the mass
see. I haven't seen one yet, so
well,
like for if regular people,
if you find them, send the link and we can
invite them
hyperlink it. We can just go visit the plant.
Just visit. Okay.
Oh, I got plans for season 2, season 3.
Yeah. That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah. Tech in the hood, word on the street. Might introduce some new. I like that. New segments. Go talk to.
That's a great idea.
Talk to people.
Yeah.
And get their insights. I think one thing that we talked about during that panel in the future of work is tech companies don't necessarily understand their audience at first, so they'll go and try to sell a solution to someone, but they don't understand the customer, and
which breaks my heart.
You talked about it. You talked about customer journey mapping.
Yes.
Why is that important?
We were talking a little bit about this earlier today too. Just having whatever company you're at, whatever industry you're in, really understanding your customers. So having all the stakeholders come together, map out the journey, the key events in the journey, and understanding from each department, what are the pain points from your perspective? What are their highs and lows? What are the customers saying at each one of those moments? And number one, getting alignment. Once you have the alignment, then you can start to look at, okay, here are our opportunities. Like you mentioned in this book, how do you improve the experience for kind of the ideal customer, the perfect, like how do you know who that is? You have to map out the journey first and see where your biggest opportunity is. You're not going to make everyone happy. They are the distraction. So going through the exercise of customer journey mapping kind of gets everybody talking the same language, understanding the customer, and keeping a pulse on the customer. And AI could help with that, really can move all things forward. But when we were on the panel for Future of Work, I mean, we were speaking with a member of the government, our Illinois representative, and I think he had mentioned this was kind of a new language for him specifically, kind of like a little bit eye-opening on thinking through it through that lens.
Yeah. And it's interesting you bring that up because one of the updates that I'm going to be putting on my website, flextech.ai, is a glossary. Because as techies, we tend to forget that people do not speak our language.
Yeah, we speak acronyms.
And we're, even each one of us, we have our own expertise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I think that's important to do. So season 2 is going to be exciting. I'm also going to have celebrity guests.
Oh, wow. Hello.
Malik Yusuf.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, so it's gonna be a great season, but this wouldn't be possible without folks like yourselves that believe
Appreciate you
in the podcast and believe in what we're doing, and we're representing Chicago. So it's really exciting, and so thank you both for being here today. It was really nice
to catch your vision and executing that vision with the podcast, man. You are awesome.
Oh, I appreciate
awesome?
that.
I mean, he knows. I have a lot of love for Flex, so.
Love you, bro.
Love you guys. So much love in the room, and we're gonna carry that with us. And so yeah, I'm excited for this season 2 and everything that it brings. And one thing that I really appreciated, Martina, was how many episodes you've listened to, and so now I mean,
they're just good stories. I love, who doesn't love a good story? Yeah. The human.
Yeah. Human narratives. And we're also going into an election year. So the more we can focus on the things that unite us and focusing on the human stories.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll leave it at that because I don't want to get into politics or elections or anything. But stay tuned to the podcast, and thank you for joining us today.